Hello and welcome back to the series where I attempt to conquer CALRADIA in 100 days. Now, we're currently in Vagia territory, and I'm actually deciding that we should, upgrade our armor a little bit, because that's probably going to help us to survive a slight bit better. As you can see right here, I'm replacing the Saranid mail shirt with some plate armor that I'm purchasing for about 12,000 in cash, and I might, not sure if we're going to do this just yet, but I might actually get a crossbow. Let's get a crossbow. There we go. Because this doesn't require any power draw or anything like that, and that's actually a decent-ish crossbow. It's not super fantastic or anything like that, but it looks pretty cheap anyway, and, well, I might as well do it, right? I might as well. That sounds relatively decent to me. So, we are here at Curor. I have made Katrine into a vassal, like I said I was going to do. We're going to make peace with the Saranids because, let's face it, this is a really, really easy way for us to get right to rule. Obviously, right to rule is not really something I don't really have time to generate that, to be honest, because, look, my right to rule is 9, which is pretty decent, actually, hilariously enough. Not bad at all, if I do say so myself, considering. But the thing is, if I was playing this normally, I would have sent out all of my companions, and they would have come back after 2 weeks, or however long it takes them normally, and they would have given me some right-to-rule bonuses from them just, doing that. And that would have been absolutely fantastic. That would have been great, but, yeah, unfortunately, that's not how it goes. That's not how it goes in this series, because we need to go very, very fast. Oh, yes. We need to go very fast. Unfortunately, Jeremus is not ready yet. Alright, so the siege at Slesk Castle is not going to happen just yet because we have him, Mr. Vlan, and his friends, the other desert names. Yes, they're attempting to besiege Ravedin. And now I did say in the previous episode, it's not a good idea to try to defend against the AI, because the AI is obviously going to be extremely inefficient when it comes to their choices of siege. If they were very, very sure about what they wanted to do, they would have gone to Curor and attempted to take that back because, there's only 30 troops in there. Ravedin, I think, has 38, so there's very, very little difference, but the fact of the matter is they can very easily take back either one, but the easiest one to take back would be Curor, of course. So it's a bit strange that they decided not to do that, but, that doesn't really affect me that much. All that affects me is not dying. Yes, I need to prevent myself from dying in this situation, so I'm just going to be very, very careful here and just be cautious about the various lances in and around the area. These fellows with their spears, they will kill me. They have the ability to kill me very, very fast. I know for a fact that that is the case. We've seen this multiple times in this series so far that, indeed, there it is. Did you see that? They destroyed my shield instantaneously. This is not a bad shield. It's okay, it is average. It is average. It is not amazing by any means, but it is certainly very, very easy when it's a couch lance for them to just completely destroy your shield, and that's obviously what happened. So, gonna have to be a bit careful here. I'm gonna do a little bit of damage. I obviously would like to level up if I can, but again, it's one of those things where, in general, the player character generally tends to get... Oh dear. Yes, the player character tends to get picked on quite a bit. I'm hopeful that we'll get some people to come over here. No, just come on now. There we go. Yes, there we go. Okay. That was a bit close. It's good that I got new armor, right? Yeah, it's good that I got new armor, because that seriously helped me to survive here. I think I might have died if I had the other armor on, to be honest. Because armor is surprising when its damage calculations are taken into account, because when you have good armor, it fundamentally, and I know this is going to sound really, really dumb for me to say, it's going to blow your mind how dumb this is, but when you have armor, it protects you better. I know. A shocking revelation. An absolutely shocking thing to learn at this point in time. However, what I want to just stress about that is when you have a decent amount of protection in Warband, and to a certain degree in Bannerlord as well, you are going to have deflecting blows, or glancing blows in many cases. And that's going to make it so that you take extremely little damage. And I'm talking about, you know, taking literally 0 or 1 or 2 or just a couple of points of damage. In comparison to if the weapon that the enemy is using has a high base value damage, or if the enemy has decent power strike skill or weapon proficiencies or whatever, if they have that perfect storm of everything involved, then they can penetrate that armor. They can penetrate that armor, they can penetrate the protection, and then they can very much make you regret it. They can make you regret engaging them in combat. And that's exactly what can happen. And so that's the reason why I said, you know, about the whole damage calculation thing, because that's exactly what happens. It is not a case of, you know, them hitting you and your, you know, because this is exactly the point. This is not the damage modifier. This is just something to bear in mind here. I know a lot of people think that the damage modifier actually makes it, yeah, I mean, it does to a degree, of course, but the penetration of your protection needs to happen first before the damage modifier is taken into account. I just wanted to, you know, unload that knowledge onto everyone's face. Yes. Yeah, never mind. Anyway, the point is, I thought it might be interesting for you to learn that if you hadn't already, you know, guessed it or know about it. Anyway, obviously we're going to be taking these guys prisoner, even though it would probably be a good idea to let them go for honor's sake, but no. We are just going to be doing the standard thing here, and I will be taking a bunch of people, and we'll take the looter too, because we're going to put them in the garrison. Alright, so it's actually time for our attack on Slesk Castle that I delayed for a little bit, you know, just a little bit, and hopefully I'm going to be able to get in here and not take too much damage. There we go, nice. Yeah, you can tell that I'm, you know, I've played this game a lot, because that is fundamentally one of the safest routes that you could take to get into the courtyard and then hopefully not die as a result. Now, the unfortunate thing is, I might actually end up dying now. I might actually end up dying, but we did level to 20, which is pretty good. So I suppose that's decent-ish, right? That is decent. Unfortunately, I think we might have a bit of a problem here. We might. Yep. Alright, there it is, finally able to achieve victory, surprisingly enough. I did have to wait quite some time to restore myself and to restore some of our forces, of course, and we did end up losing not even that many really, really good units. We just lost one Swedian Knight, a Nord Veteran, things like that, so not really that bad. But, obviously, the less we can lose, the better. Obviously, right? So let's get some Swedian Knights right here, level up these guys, get another Swedian Man-at-Arms. We obviously leveled up as well, which is actually really nice. I am thinking that I will use the Tempered Nomad Saber instead of the Balanced Saranid Cavalry Sword. Now, the main reason why I'm doing that is because of the reach. This is obviously fantastic on a horse because it has amazing weapon reach, but in these close quarters combat situations, not very good. Mostly because it just gets caught on things. It gets caught on the walls and just makes it very, very difficult to actually swing it. And you need to swing it to do damage, of course. You know, it's very difficult to swing a long appendage. Yes, indeed, it is, yes. Anyway, let's go and speak to Marned real fast because he is indeed leveling up. And we're going to get him another point in Power Strike. He's actually getting a bunch of kills, by the way. I don't know whether you've noticed that, but he's been getting so many really, really good kills. And I'm going to give him my old sword. Why not? Let's give him my old sword. I think he's probably going to do a great job. We should probably get him a better shield at some point as well. He's doing pretty nicely, though, in terms of, well, just generally everything. He's doing okay. And Katrine now has access to Slesk Castle, so she's going to be the one that will garrison it and do all that wonderful stuff. Now, we have leveled up once again, so let's get Charisma to 24, and we're going to get Leadership to 8. Now, someone did actually say that I should level up Persuasion to be able to persuade the commanders and stuff like that to, you know, give up their give up the castles and things like that that actually are siege towers. Now, I am actually unsure. I don't think that is how it works. I could be wrong about that. Maybe there's been some discovery about the persuasion skill in the recent times. Maybe, I don't know, but I have never ever used persuasion skill to do anything specifically amazing with it, and it is, I would say, probably unlikely that there is any chance that persuasion skill is going to do anything in regards to helping us with the siege towers. But if you have, if you have like 100% confirmation that it does do something, then I would be more than happy to try it. Unfortunately, obviously, it is based on intelligence and not based on charisma for some reason, and so as a result, it is going to make things a bit difficult for us, because then I'm going to have to spend a lot of points, which I don't really have, in intelligence in comparison to charisma. Because as you can see, this is what it does. This skill helps you make other people accept your point of view. It also lowers the minimum level of relationship needed to get NPCs to do what you want. So, technically, if I had, I don't know, 8 in persuasion, maybe that would allow us to persuade the commander better. So if they have, I don't know, less people inside, but the main problem is the building of the siege tower, and so me having to build it is obviously the initial issue. That's the problem more than getting the enemies out of there. So I am not sure. As I say, I don't think it has that much of a significant impact, but as I say, I don't have a lot of experience with using persuasion, so, from what I have seen, persuasion is mostly used to try to get prisoners to join you, and maybe to persuade vassals to a certain degree as well. But that I believe is it, so I could be wrong. I don't know. Just let me know. Let me know if you have confirmation that it actually does do something in regards to siege warfare, because if it does, that is extremely powerful, and that could be a new strategy, you see. That could be a new strategy to actually do this challenge in a much faster way. Because if you can persuade, instead of going into the siege, it would save you a huge amount of time, and it would also save you on units. So, for example, if you persuaded someone to, give up their fief, which I highly, I don't think that the system is implemented in this game to allow us to do that, but, if it is, then it would be fantastic for us. It would be absolutely amazing. Probably one of the fastest, most efficient ways of capturing territory. But, yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see, I guess we'll see. If anyone says anything in the comments, then, I very much appreciate that. Thank you. But we'll take a look, and we'll see what happens with it. I might do some testing with it as well in my own time. Yeah, who knows. Anyway, let's have a look. Ooh, actually, pretty nice helmet. Not bad, not bad. Okay, so let's actually give that to Jeremus. I want him to survive as much as he possibly can, of course. And is this better? Yeah, this is better for him. Okay, there we go. So now he's using that. He's using a crossbow as well. I did actually use my crossbow a little bit, by the way. I don't know whether you saw that. Oh, yeah, I don't think you did, actually. But I did level up my proficiency. I did level up my proficiency quite a bit. And so I now have, 70-something, 75 or something like that. In crossbow, and I'm able to one-shot lightly armored opponents with a headshot. That is, with a headshot, not with anything else, of course. If it was anything else, then that would be extremely, extremely powerful. But anyway, we're going to be attempting to take Rivercheck here. Okay, the Rodoks are now declaring war against us. That is to be expected, of course. Oh, Rivercheck is actually a... Oh. Yeah. Ha. Well, that is not very good. That is not very good. Okay, we're going to have to do something else then. We're going to have to do something else. I cannot spend any additional time doing that. And me coming over to this area to begin with is a huge waste of time for us. So I need to get a move on, actually. I need to get a move on. So let's actually see what happens here. Okay, so we're going to just go in here instead. Beluga Castle is obviously just reducing the chances that they're going to have any kind of territorial control, you know, in this area. And we're just going to try to take a couple of things here. Then we're going to move on to Kudan. Now, Kudan is obviously the last remaining town that they have, with the exception of Riverchegg, of course. And if we could, it would be fantastic if I could maybe do something with that. I'm not sure whether I should bite the bullet and actually just spend the time attempting to take Riverchegg, because it is fundamentally one of the most profitable towns in the game, and it would be nice to get my Weavery and Dye Works back, wouldn't it? Because that's where we built it initially. So it would be cool, wouldn't it? I think it would be cool, but oh, it's probably unlikely, right? It's probably unlikely that we're going to have any opportunity to get it. Oh, no, okay. Can we actually kill these guys? I feel like this is probably unlikely. Yeah, okay. They're now running away from us. Okay, well, that is to be expected. Let me see if I can get a little bit more. Well, basically, this is what I've been doing in the previous siege as well. I was attempting to try to get as many kills as possible with my crossbow. And funnily enough, it does seem pretty, I mean, it's not super effective by any means, but it is pretty good, you know. It's alright, you know. If you can get a couple of headshots here and there, it actually does level up quite quickly, which I have to admit is a nice change, because, you know, I've been using a crossbow in my other series, and it has not been going very well. Let's just say that. It takes way too long to level it up in Bannerlord. So there's also that. Yeah, but unfortunately, it looks as though all of these people are hiding. They're just hiding. And there it is, 7 renown for us, and a huge number of rescued prisoners. Actually, not something that I particularly care about right now, especially these looters. I guess we're just going to take the Sea Raiders, take the Caravan Guards as well, because Caravan Guards, hilariously enough, they actually do level up into some pretty good stuff. Because obviously Mercenary Horsemen, they level up into Mercenary Cavalry, which, no offense, they're not that good. They're not that good, but they're pretty decent for just getting some cheap cavalry and widely available cavalry at that. So, you know, they're not too bad. They're not too bad. Anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to get this Strong Nomad bow. That is indeed going to go over to Deshavi. She is going to be very, very pleased with that. We're going to give this to Katrine once again. Basically, I am just going to be giving Katrine basically pretty much every single thing in this area. I'm just trying to make sure that she has an overwhelmingly strong, you know, presence in this area, just to make sure that she is capable of defending it, at its height. I don't know whether she's going to be able to do it, but I'm going to give her the best possible you know, shot, you know, chance, or, you know, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, so let's just level these guys up a little bit. Vagia recruits, absolutely terrible. That's not so good. So we're going to go back to, well, not Curor, but we're going to go to Raverdin, I guess. This is not exactly great. I'd like to take this castle right here, but yeah, maybe I should have deferred appointment of a lord on that one, because then I could have placed these people in the garrison here, because you can't actually donate people to the garrison as far as I can tell in Warband, so we're going to have to just be a little bit, shall we say, a little bit flexible, because I don't want to run around with these random Vagia units bringing our morale down and everything. That would be super annoying, in my opinion. Ah, we got a book merchant here as well. Not sure if I really want to spend a huge amount of money on books, but it is available, as you can see, and I only have 12,000 right now, so I'm probably not going to be doing that. Mercenary crossbowmen could be kind of decent, so we'll take some of those, and then we're going to go over to Kudan, like I said. And here it is, the defenders are coming out to meet us, which is absolutely perfect, especially in Vaegir Fiefs. I'm not looking forward to this in the Nords ones, that's for sure. Alright, that was a bit close, wasn't it? Yeah, that was a bit close. That's exactly what I'm talking about. These guys actually still have a significant chance to pretty much just kill me instantly, because as soon as they get any kind of really, really good hit with a thrown weapon or even an arrow to the face, I just take so much damage. Anyway, 20 renown was our reward for that. I'm just going to wait here for a little bit of time just to try to, you know, restore ourselves somewhat. And as you can see, Shariz is now being besieged. I'm hopeful that that is not going to make any difference whatsoever. Hopefully, Ferentis is going to do something. He's had enough time to gain a significant force and hopefully defend it. Alright, so we ended up taking Kudan there. I basically just stood outside, shot a couple of bolts, and then just, you know, that's it. I'm a little bit worried about this. I'm not entirely sure how we're going to deal with what's happening in Saranid territory. This is going to be the big problem. Yes, this is going to be the big problem. I'm not entirely sure how we're supposed to do anything about it. So we're going to have probably a bit of a problem. Yeah, probably a bit of a problem. Because here's the thing. Shariz should be relatively well defended. And I'm saying should be because, well, I'm hopeful that Ferentis has done his job, you know? Because he technically should have, right? He should have done his job and actually, you know, garrisoned it with a decent amount of defenders, but I have a bad feeling that maybe he's not done that. So maybe they're actually going to be taking this really, really fast, and it's going to be very, very disappointing for us. Anyway, let's do this. Let's go into what are we? Yoruma Castle. Okay, I'm hopeful that they're actually going to sally out against us. There's a lot of war declarations going on, by the way, as well. Swadia versus Rodox, Khergit Khanate versus Vaegirs, and the Vaegirs are attempting to take this back as well now. They're attempting to take Kudan back. Okay, that's kind of interesting. I think that's fine. I don't think we're going to have too many issues with that. Alright, so we were able to take that once again, and we did suffer a couple of casualties, but nothing actually super bad. We're having pretty easy times here. We haven't had really that much casualty to really be super upset about, so I'm actually really, really happy about that. And indeed, we are leveling up our companions, and indeed myself as well, so that's pretty nice. Now, otherwise, this is what it's currently looking like right now. And technically, and this is the funny thing, if Rivercheg was not a siege tower, I already would have taken that, right? I already would have taken that. So this is a bit problematic because, oh, this is so funny. Look at this. The Khergits have come to take Dramug Castle. Now, the main reason why they've taken this is because the Vaegirs took Dramug from us, because obviously it was extremely lowly defended, and it's going to be the same for the Vaegirs. They didn't put a huge amount of people in there either. So this is hilarious. Because that means that, yeah, there's some crazy stuff going on here. There is a lot of crazy stuff going on here. Katrine is running after this guy. What? Why is she doing that? That's a bit of a weird decision. All right, okay, I guess it's because I'm here. Is that the reason? Is it because I'm here that she feels confident enough to do this? Because she only has 50 people. There's no way she would have been able to tackle these guys by herself. Not in a million years. 124 he has. There's no way. But this is going to be very, very simple for us in the very least. And I could technically get a really big crossbow proficiency increase if I manage to hit my first shot. Nope. Never mind. Didn't manage to hit my first shot, because obviously they got shields. It's a bit difficult to do that, you know. It's a bit difficult to do that when they have shields. Oh, she's getting kills. She's actually getting some kills. I'm surprised. Oh, I actually just died instantly because thrown weapons. Wow. Okay. Well, yeah, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Thrown weapons are so funny because, on the one hand, sometimes they are the most useless thing in the world, but in the hands of the AI, just give them to the AI and they are the most deadly, laser accurate, just killing machines that you're ever gonna see. It's actually crazy. It is really, really crazy to see that. Alright, well, whatever the case, let me see. Can I maybe kill that guy? Oh no, I didn't kill him, but I did hit him at least, which is a little bit better than last time. But I have to admit, would have been nice for us not to die in that previous one, but I guess, you know, once again, it is just random, you know. Most of those deaths are just random. It's nothing to do with, well, anything. Anyone can die from those things, which is hilarious, you know. That's just how it is when you play on the maximum damage modifier and all that stuff. And that's generally the reason why sometimes I may not play on the maximum damage, because it's just, well, kind of bonkers, you know, kind of bonkers. Sometimes the amount of damage that is incoming, because obviously you as the player gets focused by the enemy. I don't know whether you've noticed that in the past, but generally the AI in Mount and Blade in general, and this happens in Warband and indeed in Bannerlord as well, they tend to focus the player rather than each other. And so as a result, you know, if you're playing on maximum damage, you're going to have a hard time. But then that's obviously the whole point, you know, the difficulty is going to be dramatically increased from that. Anyway, I'm going to take this horse, I guess. Yeah, I'm going to take the horse. There we go. We're just going to move on. All right, so we have defended Kudan, which is really, really nice. Let's actually just take a quick look. What do we have close to us? Well, we have Nelai Castle and Talbot Castle. I don't actually think I need to do anything with these castles because they are really close to Khergit territory, and they're the ones that are at war against them, right? So it makes sense for us to just leave those alone. And let's actually see what's happening here. Shariz is... yes. Shariz is going to get taken in just a moment. Okay, that's quite problematic, isn't it? That's quite problematic. Okay, so I'm thinking Yerbe Castle. I actually want to try to force the Vagirs into a... Yep, there we go. We lost it. And indeed, Forentis was in there. He was actually inside the garrison. So he was doing as much as he possibly could, but apparently it wasn't good enough. That's somewhat sad, isn't it? Yeah, that is somewhat sad. Anyway, we're gaining at 1,500 every single week, which is okay, I guess. And this is indeed a siege tower. Okay, that makes sense. Let's go to Izmirala Castle then. Wow, this is crazy. The spread of siege towers is extremely limited here for some reason. Anyway, we're gonna try to take Izmirala here. Shouldn't be too bad. I kind of wish that these guys would just sally out every single time, because that would make things much, much easier for us. But yeah, you know how it is. Marnid, you're running ahead, sir. You're going to get headshot in a moment. I hope he doesn't, actually. I hope he doesn't. It would be really nice if he just survived for a little bit of time. But yeah, as you can see, look at this. Headshot, instant kill, and decent crossbow proficiency. Obviously not so much when you don't get a headshot, but, you know, it's decent. It's okay, you know, it's fine. And we're going to be getting some good experience as well. And as you can see, Marnid, he's dead. And otherwise, we're just going to move straight on in here. And we're going to be giving this, once again, to Katrine. I'm literally just going to give her basically everything because I want her to have the most access to unlimited amounts of troops. Unlimited amounts of troops, and try to increase her overall company size. Because, of course, as we've seen, she only has, and this is a siege tower, she only has about 50 people. So, yeah, there it is. The Vaegirs have been completely and utterly dismantled. Unfortunately, they still have Rivercheg. So the question is, do we try to take it with a siege tower? That's the question. I don't actually know whether that is a good idea. I really don't. I don't actually know whether that's a good idea, because from my perspective, I feel like that is a huge waste of time. And what I would prefer to do is level up Jeremus once more. Yeah, he only needs to level up one more time. And then we have 7 in engineering. And that's going to be kind of good. I think that's probably going to provide us with a pretty significant time reduction in the siege tower construction speed. So that could be fantastic. And unfortunately, we are seeing that Shariz has been taken, though. So I'm thinking maybe we want to rush over. You know what? That's what we're going to do instead. Okay. We're going to rush over to Rodok territory, and we're going to try to retaliate against them and try to pull them back from the front lines in Saranid territory, try to get them to focus on something else. Alright, so we're trying to take Veluca right now. Now, this is indeed, oh. Okay. Oh, I'm actually very surprised. I'm actually very surprised. I thought we were going to get a sally out. I thought we really were going to get a sally out, but no. Very surprising. Okay, well, this is bad. This is bad for me. This is very, very bad for me. And the reason why this is bad is because I've told you multiple times already. Yes. This is the reason. This is the reason why I said this was bad. Oh dear. Look at this. We ended up losing 4 Swadian Knights instantaneously. Wow. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna do something that... Oh, okay. That's very funny. Wow. This is weird. This is very strange. Okay, so the Swadians are now coming in to take Shariz, which is very amusing because that is literally the fief that we had, but they've taken it from the Rodoks. So basically, the same exact thing has happened with the Kyrgyz and the Vaegirs as we saw with Dramug Castle, which is hilarious because that means that they're actually they went all the way down there. That is always so funny to me when a faction decides that they're gonna charge all the way to a certain place on the map and take something as out of the way as Shariz. There's no way the Swadians are going to be hanging on to this. There's absolutely no way they'll ever be able to hang on to it. That's the big issue here for them. I don't really know, but yeah, well, whatever the case, I am just going to get a couple of kills here if I can, because it is pretty easy for us to get kills like this. And oh, actually, yeah, I should probably place my crossbowman over here. That's generally what I tend to do now as well. I do place my crossbowmen outside, and I try to get them to be somewhat effective, because as I've said to you, crossbowmen, they are effective at pretty much any level. At pretty much any level, because as I said, if they can do a little bit of damage to you every single time they shoot, which is generally what's going to happen, because, you know, this is Warband, and you're going to have the damage profile of a, you know, pretty decent... I mean, I'm not even using a good crossbow right now, and I am able to kill most enemies in 2 hits, which is all you really need. Alright, so now that we've taken Urgelon Castle, there were actually quite a few people that I could rescue in there as well, so that's actually kind of nice, you know, that's always nice. And, aha, hello there. Okay, yeah, so this guy obviously wants to try to besiege. I'm not going to allow him to do that, of course. 114 versus 86. This should be extremely simple for us, but yeah. Now that we are attacking the Rodoks, I gotta say, I never actually look forward to attacking them because they are just so incredibly defensive. Every single time we attack them in any native playthrough, I always just go, this is gonna be painful. Yeah, this is gonna be very, very painful. And it always turns out to be the case, that they are extremely, extremely damaging, no matter what. They just have the business, you know? They just have the crossbowmen that are capable of inflicting massive damage with very little effort. And the only way that we can really do damage to them in these cases is just by being ultra aggressive. Obviously, this is very much native. They're not going to be using any kind of advanced strategies like skirmishing or whatever. And, you know, obviously this is very simple territory, as in the environment. The battlefield does not provide them with any kind of height advantage or whatever, and generally that would be one of their greatest assets. That's the reason why fighting the Rhodoks in their own territory is very, very difficult. So this guy coming in to flat fields of green, basically, as what we have here, is absolutely fine. We are not going to have any issues with this. Anyway, can take him prisoner. Funnily enough, I'm running around with a whole bunch of people that are now my prisoners, which is kind of weird. But yeah, I guess I will go over to Uxkhal, and we'll see what happens. Yes, I am actually going to be accepting these ransoms, of course. And yeah, there's basically nothing here. I would like to get some additional food, just in case. I need to get Deshavi leveled up as well. Anyway, that is going to be it for this episode. Very interesting stuff going on here. Not sure how this is going to go. I am still in two minds about whether we're going to return to Vajir territory and take Riverchegg, but I feel like it is too much of a time investment to really, I don't know, to really do much. I will be able to take Valuka, but it's a very harsh siege, where I think we're probably going to be sustaining quite a lot of casualties. Not sure if we can even go for it, but I'm going to try, of course. I'm going to try, and we'll see how it goes. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.